Hello everyone. So in the last session, we discussed how to read the data, how to write the processing logic, how to use the read table keywords. All those things we learned in the last session. Okay. Today we learn about the control break statements. Okay. So what are control break statement? So SAP has given us some control statement which we can use inside the loops. Okay. Why do we use it? So we can control, like we have learned, right, continue and exit commands, so where we can control the behavior of the loop. At the same time we can also control the behavior of the data which we are going to display or which we are going to use. Okay, so for that purpose our control break statements are available. So total we have almost 5 control break statements. So I'll be using this existing program. Okay, let me scroll it slowly so that the people who is going to see the session, they can access this. Yeah, so I'll just write down the control break statement names. Correct me if I'm missing anything. First one is at new and at. Okay, second one is, no, first we'll go with at first actually. At first and at, it always end with 80 and at, because we are starting with at, right? So like we do loop and loop, right? So likewise we have to end, this is the first letter starting thing, this is the end thing. Okay, at first and and at, then next one is at last and end it. Okay, then we have third one, so that is and new and at. Then we have fourth one, at end and at. Okay, and then we have fifth one, on change of and on. So these are the 5 control break statements we have, and we'll learn how to use all these statements. Okay, one by one. Okay, first start with at first. Okay, so where to use the at first and when to be use the at first statement. So at first is being used when we are running the loop, right? So when we use the loop at it mara into wmara. Okay, so for the first run, right, whenever it's starting, that time itself it will run actually. After that, if it goes for the second occurrence, it will not go for that statement. We'll also go in debug and we'll see that. Okay, so let's use and where to use this end first. So let's suppose here yesterday what we were doing is we were directly printing the data, right? So if I just execute it, see here we are directly printing the data in the screen, and here we can use that at first so that we can give the header itself in the loop. We can give outside loop also, but if you want to give inside the loop, there also it is possible. Okay, and or something else you want to display, like you want to display your current time or the execution time, that is also possible. When did you run this report? Okay, so let's see that. So what we can say is we are in loop. Okay, inside the loop we can write here at first. Okay, and then we have to tell the field name also. Okay, sometimes field name is also not required and we can add that. So that's how we use this at first. Now if I want to write, okay, so what we want to write here is that we are in at first status. Okay, we are in at first mm, statement. Okay, and what we can do here is we can give something else also. Then we can give current time. Okay, so psi UZEIT, which holds the current time. Okay, just save it and check it, activate it, and let's run the program. See, we know that table contains total 10 entries from yesterday, right? So how many times the loop will run? 10 times, correct? And let's see how many times it gets printed. So it got printed only one time. We are in at first statement, and this is the time 22, 15, and 27, which can be its system time. Okay, this is not the current time of our Indian time. It can be system time. It is taking from the system. Okay, so see here, the time was 22:59. So that's the reason it has taken this time. Okay, so let's go in the debug mode once. Okay, when it's going to be triggered. If I press simply execute, the debug is going to start. Let me reset my screen. See, when you are going in debug mode, that time we learn how the program is behaving, how our statements are being executed. And that's the reason I go mostly in the debug mode so that we can see step by step execution. When we just see the data directly on the output screen, we don't understand that how it is being flowing. Okay. So if I press F5, see it came here at first and it will check automatically that, okay, this is coming first time here, then it will go inside this, and then I'm pressing F6 so that it will not go to the standard writing methods and the standard program. F5, and it is doing this processing one by one. Okay, I came here, then F5, F5, F5. Okay, now the next loop will start. Okay, so we came here again. Okay, now when we came here, the program will understand this is not the first time, so it will not execute that. See, it has skipped this much part of code and it came to the read table, and that's how our at first thing is working. So we can use this to generate, let's suppose we want to give. Sometime what happens, we do not get the data on the first, we have multiple loops available. Yesterday we saw, right? Then we want to print which all tabbix we got the data. So let's suppose we got this data in row number 1, and here we have data at row number 10. Okay, so you want to just know that which tabbix you want to see the data, so that also you can print with the sign tabbix, right? So if I just go to sign tabbix, so it will tell you the first tabbix number. So like what's the column number first. So let's, if I just simply execute. So these are the basics actually, and sometime it's very useful. Guys, you have not informed me to share my screen again. Okay. So what I did is just I came here and changed the sign that date to time sign tabbix, which will give me the current table row number actually. So if I come F5 and then execute, so it will go out and it will print the current tabbix number on the output screen. See here, it is printed one over here, and it's taking the full length. Why? Because the length will be more. Okay, so that's how we can use our first at first thing, and we can go for the next one, which is our at last. So at last means that whatever is be happening, or at that last time when the loop is running, that iteration is running. Let's suppose on the 10th, right? Currently we have total time record in the loop. So when that last loop runs, that time that will be executed. Okay, so we can use it at last also here itself. Okay, last. Okay, if you want, you can write this logic at here also after processing writing logic, but let's try here. Okay, at last, what you have to do it, uh, we can write some statement that we are at the last section, or you can do some plus minus summation or total also. You can display here the total at the last. Okay, you can do some kind of processing, like the guy was asking in the group, sir, how to do the summation, so that also can be possible here. And we can do what we can do is that we can display the total sum once we are doing this summation in that, and at the last we can display here that keyword. So let's suppose we have used one variable sum underscore all. Okay, that we can display here with the help of at last. Okay, so that's also possible, we can do it. So we are at last of statement, and then what we are going to display is sign tabix again. Okay, we have to use chain statement and then tabix. Save it, activate it, and run it directly. Okay, see, it is coming somewhere here. We are at last of statement 10. Why we are getting it here? It should not be the case because that got printed in else part. Okay, so let's try to give it here after our processing logic. Simply execute it. See, now it is coming at we are at last of a statement. That condition was being failed. That's the reason it was printing here. It's because the program does not only understand, okay, that thing is going to work, and then it's printed the here. But now what we did, anyhow our conditions are working or not working, it does not matter. You print it at the last. Okay, and that's the reason we are getting it here. So still we can go for the new line so that it will make more clear. So it's like a footer thing. You can do it in the last of the loop actually. So not the last of the program, it about the loop. So after this also, if you want to print something or another loop data, that is also possible. You can do it here. Okay. So see here, the first record was 11, but now here the time site tabix value is 11. Why? Because the tabix value got increased with 1. Initially it was 1 and then last was 11. So that new loops will run, it will have 11 member web records. Okay. So if it started with 0, it will have 10. Okay. So that's the thing you're seeing it 11 here. Okay. So these are two statements which we use at last and at first. These are the first two things. Okay. Then we have one more thing called at new. Okay. So what is the at new actually? So at new works on the where does it work is based on the field. Okay. So let's suppose we have a new maintainer every time the loop is running. So every time we are getting the new maintainer. Okay. So if you want to write some condition that okay, every time whenever the material number change, you do this task. Okay. So let's suppose that there is might be one more scenario that in LTMRD we have one field called mtart, right? So mtart can be same for other all the material numbers. So you want to check if any mtart change. So let's suppose for five starting five material, the mtart value is same, and for other five last five, the mtart value is different. Okay. So there also you can write your logic saying okay if any value change. Okay. So how to write that? Okay. So let's see that where we are going to write this. So write so at new, and we'll use the value of WMR and then and at, and we have to tell the field name also. Okay. So field name is okay. It is not taking the work area field name. Sorry, my bad. Then how will be using it? Let's take directly the field name. Okay, maintainer. So if there is a change in the maintainer itself, you come here and write we are in at new statement. Okay, then comma. Okay, we need to use the chain operator first, then we can use the comma. uh, New line. Okay, then we can give a maintainer. Okay, let's see what's the output for this thing. So simply execute it. Okay, The data looks a bit dirty, but if you see here that every time the material is being changed, it is got printed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So 10 times the material got changed, okay, and it has executed 10 times. But okay, so let me run it one more time. I'll show you the difference actually how it works. So if you see here somewhere, here see, so we have MOH which is our MTART value, MAWA is a new value, and MOH again. Okay, so let's run this thing on MTART value because that time we'll have less. Okay, so how we can do this? Let me take the output once again. How we can do this? Sorry. So we are getting this first, and then this line is fine, and then it is getting mixed here. Okay, it is not mixed, and it is coming in the new line actually. So let's remove this material number from here so that it will look bit better, and then give the U line. So you can see some difference over here. Okay. See, every time the material got changed, we are getting the U line actually before printing it. Okay, so total 10 rows should be there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay. Now we are going to write this code based on mtart value. So whenever the mtart value change, then only you print it. Okay. Otherwise it will not print. So now let's see how many time it will print. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it is printing for all the values actually. So I guess let's sort it before mm, I think we cannot use it here. After read, we are getting the mtart value.
Hey, Sumit, just to add on,
Mhm.
so that field which you're using right now should be the first field. So in your internal table, and that will work only on integers.
Okay, so will not work on.
Hmm.
No, that should not be the case actually. The integer part, will it work only for the integers?
That should be the first field. That is the mandatory thing.
Okay,
So
first thing
that
can
is.
be possible. Yeah.
Mhm.
So if it is first field, then fine. Then let's do one thing. We can
I
modify
think
our
it should
table.
also be an integer. Okay, let
We can modify our table. Okay, let's see that. And then in select statement also we need to modify this. So mtart and then metnar, right? So let's check if any error. No error. So now our first field is mtart. Okay, let's see that. Simply execute. Okay, see here. Correct. Who was it? I did not see who was speaking.
yeah, I mean, another thing.
Okay, thanks Navratan. That helps actually. So see, when we have changed that to first field, now it is working fine. So we are only see now it is grouping. Why it is grouping? See here NFRT was there, it's fine. Here ERSA was there, right? RMR here it did not change for two times. Okay, then when it again changed for MAWA, that time the value got printed. Okay, so you can use this thing based on summation. Let's suppose you got a requirement that based on mtart value, I want to know which all total quantities are available. Okay, so what you can do is that you can do based on this mava part, okay, mtart value, and you can use this field to do the sum and you can print it here itself. Okay, This can be one of the business scenario to do it in the real life statements. Okay, here we are just using the right statement, that also can be possible. And if I want to the summation for this, how we can do is that we can take a local variable. Let's suppose I take a local variable, data lb qty type lb, what's the type for that, labst. Okay, then what we can do is that every time the value get changed, what you have to do is you have to do the summation, right? So how we can do it? Then we have to remove the statement from here to here actually, because here we are getting the labst value. Okay, so what you can do here is that you can sum it. Okay, what was the field name? lbqty equals to lbqty plus r mardi labst. Okay, and then you can display this lb quantity over here. Let's check if any error. No. Okay, just simply execute. So see here, we are getting some random data over here. Okay, 0 0. I think the summation is not working, so we'll have to check the logic. But like that you can write your logic over here. Okay, you want to do some summation, you want to do some kind of subtotal or total, all those things can be done based on these controls, loop control statements actually. Okay, so I think we are not getting the correct value over here, that's the reason. Or let's give me 1 plus. Okay, because I think this is not an integer number and we are not getting summation. Okay, MENG 13 quantity 3. So we have to assign some value first for that field, and that's the reason we are getting blank. Okay, so likewise you can do it. Now we have next keyword available, or the next control statements available. That is at end of. Okay, so we have seen which one, that at first. Okay, at last, then this is at new, and the next one is at end of. Okay, here also we have to tell which field you are going to use. Okay, so let's suppose we use mtart only, because the first field itself only gonna work, that we have checked. And then we can do end at. Okay, so this is also similar to at last. Okay, but when it gets trigger actually, so if any change happens at the last of the loop, actually, if any value are getting changed when the last, okay. So in theoretical, if we say at end of statements always triggers when there is any change of field data, okay. This statement trigger at the last occurrence of the value, only the last one. Okay. So let's see if any value gets changed at the last, and then we can print this value thing. Okay. We are in the last statement. Simply execute it. See, it is coming for all one. It is not coming properly for the last one, that we have to control accordingly as per the program. This is a dummy program, so we have not used it properly, but we can control this part also, the blank thing. Okay, so when it is being printed, see, we are in the first attempt statement, it is not being printed. We are in the last statement, so for ERSA it is only used at the last. So after this you will not say any mtart called ERSA. Okay, see, if I go down, MOH, MAWA, MOH. Okay, so we are not able to see that ERSA now. Okay, now again let's go for the RM1. Okay, so if we are not able to see RM1, but if you'll see MOH, okay, we got this printed in the MOH, right? We are in the last statement, but here also we've got this printed in the last statement. Why? What could be the reason here? Can someone help me here? Anyone? Okay. So before doing this, let's remove this at new statement. Okay, it is misbehaving. Okay, control and activate. Okay, now if you see the output here, we are in the first statement, that is fine, and we are at the last statement, that is also fine. Okay, these two we printed. Now come here. Okay, so 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. Now we are grouping based on our mtart, right? So on mtart side, if you'll see now, right? Now you can see it properly. See, ERSA was printed once, RM was printed once, MOH was printed once. Then again it got ended. After that, the new MTAT was came. Okay, and that's the reason we are getting this printed next time as well. Okay, because we are not sorting this based on the MTAT. The thing is, if you sort this part based on the MTAT, then we will get only once in a time. Okay, let's see that also. So for that, what we have to do is we have to remove these. I think read statement I cannot remove because we'll have to sort it. See, I told you yesterday that if you are sorting one table with one of the key, and the second table should also be sorted with that key, and then only our binary search will work correctly. Okay, but still, let's see if you are sorting this metner with mtart value. Okay, or here itself we can do before using that last statement. Mm, no. Okay, sort ultimara. See, that's not a good practice, but still, let's see how it's gonna work with mtart. Okay, I'm sure this read will not work perfectly, or it might misbehave also, and might keep a dump as well. So let's see the output what it's gonna come. See, okay, now you can see it, right? So it is all grouping with the help with the MOH, which is our mtart values, and it will print only some particular time. Okay, so last, and 5 times it got printed, and that's how we can utilize our at last keyword actually. Okay, but the thing you have to make sure that whatever value is coming on the first column of that internal table, it will work only for that field. Okay, yeah. So we have one more control break statement available, which is our on change. What was the name here? Yeah, on change of and on. Okay, so when do we use on change? See, on change can be triggered for any field. Okay, on change of it triggers only when there is any change in the particular field. Okay, particular field means we are providing that field name to that thing actually. Okay, so here we are seeing that discrepancy that only the first field can be used for these and data or at using, but on the on change we can use any field, I guess. Okay, so this works inside the loop as well as it works in outside the loop. If we have some kind of variable which values we are changing frequently, that time itself it will work. And it is a similar like at new, like whenever the value in the at new we are changing, right? So we were changing the value here in at new, this one, right? So every time the material comes and it will change the value. So similar way on change on also work. Okay, so let's see that how to use it. So let me just comment this code. Otherwise, sometime if you are using it only for printing purpose, it might misbehave, but you can use it. Okay. So at last is fine. You can keep it because we are using only for our purpose. And in between, we can use this on change. Okay. So on change off. Okay. Now let's see here. I'm going to make something on that WA Mara we have taken, right? So WA Mara, and then here see it is allowing me to give me the work area part also. So let's go for mtart only so that we can group it. Okay, so let's see if it's gonna work or not. And on. Okay, Okay, we have to give and on. Yeah. So we'll write one statement here that we are in change on parameters. We are at, see, these kind of statement can be used. Now let's suppose I'll give you one business scenario that here we are able to see the values printing, right? 5 was getting printed 2 times. But what we have to do is that you only have to take the summation of the quantity based on your mtart value. Okay, like for single mtart, how many what we call, how many quantities are available in the storeroom. See, mostly storeroom are being linked with how with the material number and plant and storeroom. Okay, but mtart value is not fixed. Okay, that is mtart value only says that this is the type of this material, but the user want to know that these kind of like how many raw material, how much raw material we have available in our store. So those kind of business scenario can be used in these kind of like we can use these kind of control break statement and write the output or keep the count with some variable. Okay, that variable we can store in this thing, and then later on we can just use it in our alb or anywhere or smart form as well. Okay, so these are mostly used in the smart forms also, like we want to keep the particular information on the header, on the footer, or on the some column, like okay, this is your current date, this is your current time, and this was the time we are running it likewise. Okay, so these are the business scenario we mostly use it. So let's see this on change of mtard. What you have to do is let's print it normally first, how many time it's gonna come. Simply execute. Okay, so we are at change on, so 1 2 3 4 5 6. Just because we have not sorted moh value, right? We are not sorting moh value, it is being printed multiple times on the moh. Okay, so here the ersa was there. Okay, or on change was printed, rm1 is printed, then moh1 is printed. Okay, and then we are at change at here. It should not have printed, but there can be some change, that's the reason it is printing. And then I think it's checking on material, I guess, or some date, I guess. So mtart value we gave. So let's sort the table again, okay, so that it will make more sense to see it. But this can be utilized on any field of the table. Okay, see here. So now we are getting the particular data based on the on change things. So whenever the mtart value gets changed, we are getting this thing. But still, we are not getting the correct output. If you see here, the value is different here. C1 came here because we sorted based on the moh value. Okay, so let's take this on material level. Okay, so remove this part and do this on Mattner value. See, every Mattner value it will print us because the material is name is different and it's working fine. See, it's printing one by one in the all the materials. Okay, and at the last it's printing at last statement. So that time we can just remove it. Okay, so these are the 5 control break statements which we use to control the data. Okay, not the loop. Those continue and exit and check, those things we used just to control the loop, but here we are controlling the data. On data, how we are going to write our logic on that part. Okay, so sometimes these are most useful when we are writing the reports. Okay, like sometimes we are doing the smart form along with Adobe also when we are sending the data, so that time we can send we can calculate some kind of values and we can send that in single variables, and later on in the smart form or in the Adobe's we can utilize it for the further printing. So I'll stop it here, guys. Any questions?